Hi, welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Number to call if you'd like to join the conversation. 888-589-8840 is the number. 888-589-8840. I don't know if you saw this story over the weekend. And again, I'm not going to take time to go back over and kind of relitigate the whole issue, but there is a snake handler in Middlesboro, Kentucky, who died over the weekend from a lethal snake bite. And again, this goes to the issue of whether that is a practice that is actually taught and authorized in the scriptures. And we've spent a couple of segments talking about this, so we don't need to go back and replow all that old ground. But if you take a careful look at the original version of the scriptures, there is simply no warrant in the Bible for snake handling. It's not something that we are taught to do, encouraged to do. And so, again, you see when Christians, and I do not doubt the intentions or the faith of these people, but they are putting God to the test in a way that he never asked them to do. And here's a man just 42 years old. Number to call, by the way, is 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840, if you'd like to join the conversation. Here's the piece from Kentucky.com. Snake handling preacher Jamie Coots, who never backed away from his beliefs despite derision, criminal charges, and excruciating bites, died Saturday night after being bitten by a rattlesnake during a church service. Family members of Coots, who's 42, refused medical treatment for him. He was pronounced dead about 2 hours after the rattler sank its fangs into his right hand. So again, if there is a, I don't know what term to use, but if you do something that God has not authorized you to do, hasn't told you to do, hasn't instructed you to do, hasn't promised you that he will protect you from, then you are simply putting God to the test. And God says, don't do that. You shall not put the Lord your God to the test. Remember, that's what Satan came to Jesus when he was on the pinnacle and said, throw yourself down and God will catch you up lest you strike your foot against a stone, and quoted scriptures to him. And Jesus said, just one word, quoted scripture right back to him, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test. 888-589-8840 is the number to call. We got this movie Noah coming out. I don't know if you've read much about it. And I want to give you a heads up. I've not seen it. I've just read articles from people who have. Here's a piece on WND.com written by Drew Zahn, who has read through the script. He has seen the script of the movie Noah. This is a big budget blockbuster. You may have seen the previews for this movie, and I can just about guarantee you, based on what's in the script, based on what I've read about pre-screenings of this movie, if you are a believer in God, a believer in the scriptures, you are not going to like this thing. So I want to give you a heads up on this. It's about Noah. It's about the biblical character Noah. It's inspired by his story, but everything I've read, it is not even remotely faithful to the story that we find in the scripture. According to Drew Zahn's piece, WND, God's grief in Noah is not about murder and violence. It is more about the abuse of natural resources. In other words, this has turned into a big, giant environmental screed. The whole movie Noah presents Noah as the first environmentalist. God is not upset because men are killing other people. He's upset that they're destroying natural resources, and he's going to get even with them for destroying the planet. In the movie's pivotal early scene, when Noah's wife asks him why the Creator is planning to destroy the world, Noah gets a vision of the pristine environment before mankind, a taste of the barren land after humanity's crimes against the planet, and responds, quote, because it is dying already at our hand, all the created is dying. If we work to save it, that is the nature, Gaia, planet Earth, perhaps he will too. But you look at the biblical account in the book of Genesis, and that is not the description for the reason that we have the flood. Now, we are taught, by the way, that nature has fallen because man has fallen. The fall of nature is connected to the fall of man. It is man's sin that is responsible for the corruption and the fall of nature. That's why Paul says in Romans 8 that all nature groans along with man, waiting for the redemption of our bodies. It's somehow the redemption of the created order, which has fallen in connection with man's sin, that the redemption of the created order is connected to the redemption of man, that when man is redeemed, when our bodies are redeemed, then God will redeem and restore the planet. So the connection between a fallen nature is connected to man's sin. But remember what the scripture says about why God brought the flood. This is in Genesis chapter 6, verse 5. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil all the time. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So the Lord said, I will blot out the man whom I have created from the face of the land, for I am sorry that I have made them. So it was clearly God looking at mankind and seeing the moral depths to which man had sunk. I mean, that's a pretty amazing description. Every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil all the time. And it got to the point where there wasn't anything else that God could do but blot out man from the earth. You know, the analogy that I like to think of is you get some yogurt or some cottage cheese, let's say. You put that container of cottage cheese in the back of the refrigerator and the power goes out for the whole summer and you don't know it. The power's out. That thing has been sitting out on the back patio. No power, hot summer. You open that thing up at the end of the summer. Is there going to be anything in that container of cottage cheese or yogurt that you can redeem? No. You've got no choice but to throw the whole thing out and start over. And that was the condition that mankind was in. So anyway, the story goes on, and we'll come back to this another time to talk about this new movie, Noah. But I have an idea that Christian audiences who take the Bible seriously, take God seriously, are going to be extremely, extremely disappointed in this. In fact, at one point, Noah, in the movie, at least in the script, is instructed by God to kill his daughters, to exterminate the human race. Because God says the problem here, the reason the planet is being destroyed is because of humans. We have to exterminate the human race. So Noah, I want you to kill your daughters so we don't have any more humans polluting the planet, these noxious weeds. I mean, it just sounds just like the liberals and Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger and eugenics and Adolf Hitler and all that business. Got to get rid of these parasites, these noxious weeds. And Noah can't do it. He has more compassion than God. He can't kill his own daughter. And he says, God, I'm sorry, I just can't do it. And he lets his daughter live. So more compassionate than God in the script. So you got a God there that commands infanticide, and Moses morally superior to, or Noah morally superior because he will not do it. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to JT in Haleyville, Alabama. JT, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Great to have you back, Brian.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Done a lot of praying for you.
Thank you
down there in Cuba, but it sounds like everything went exceptionally well.
Yeah, it did. It couldn't have gone better.
It must be great to see people that sold out for Christ.
Well, it sure is, and it's just gratifying, because I had no idea what spiritually was going on in the country of Cuba. And, it's just kind of shrouded in mystery to most of us here in the United States because we can't travel freely there back and forth, and so we just don't know a lot about what's going on inside the country of Cuba, and so it was really gratifying to see how much spiritual interest in life there is.
Well, just what you were saying, I just never had any idea that that much was going on, and just to be there was had to be gratifying. Did your wives get to go with you?
No, it was just a guy's trip on this one. Although we got some of the husbands in our group are going to want to take their wives back to Bonaire. I mean, that's a tropical paradise. So some of our guys are planning to get their wives back there when the time is right. So. Well,
I just know that would have been great if your wives could have went. How does that tower stay up down there during these hurricanes?
Oh, they're out of the hurricane path down there in Bonaire. They don't get hurricanes in Bonaire, so that may be one of the reasons why they set it up there. I'm not sure why, but they're out of the hurricane swath, so those towers are safe and they're anchored down with guy wires and all that kind of stuff. They're not going to topple over anytime soon. So, all right, JT, listen, I appreciate the call. Thank you very much for that. Let's go to Sean, Tyler, Texas. Sean, welcome. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about the movie Noah.
Yes.
I just want to say that it's upsetting to me that this is a movie, as a Christian, I would love to see, and I would love it to be an opportunity to be an educational experience, but they're going to just put so many worldly themes into these movies, and like you're saying, political. I would like to see a Christian-based movie with the historical facts, the Jewish traditional facts, and even the scientific studies by Christian scientists that have researched about the world in Noah's time. And people might laugh at that, but it's out there.
Yeah, well, and it's a gripping enough story without having to completely corrupt it. In fact, this guy by the name of Aronofsky is the guy that produced this thing or directed it, Darren Aronofsky, and he says this is his approach to the story of Noah is that it's about environmental apocalypse. Those are his words. Noah was the first environmentalist, and the message from the Creator is this: we must change, we must treat the world with mercy, that is nature, with mercy, so that the Creator will show us mercy. So the predominant moral message is not a lesson about how we treat people, it's how we treat nature. So that's how the message of the Scripture has been completely corrupted in the movie Noah. Noah says at one point, we must respect the ground, respect the rivers and seas, respect the other beasts of the earth, stop the slaughter, the rape, the carnage. Well, that's not what God was upset about. He was upset about how they were treating other people. Focal Point AFR Talk. We'll be right back after the news. Don't go anywhere.